Welcome back to the Cinema Sessions. My name is Keith, and as always, I'm joined by
Seamus. Hello.
This week, we're stepping through the screen and straight into an exploding one-liner spitting, logic-defying world of 90s action excess. In 1993, at the height of blockbuster bravado, Last Action Hero arrived with the world's biggest movie star, a budget to match, and an idea so bold it didn't just break the fourth wall, it dynamited it. Today, we're talking meta before meta was mainstream, blockbuster ego, 90s excess, and whether The Last Action Hero is actually one of the smartest action films of its era. Lock and load, this is the Dubliner's Guide to Cinema.
Very nice.
Do you know what I'm doing that? I don't know what to be doing with my hands. So if it looks like I'm trying to imitate Eminem, that's I just don't. I feel like
that's one of the hardest things, for actors. Yeah,
someone told me years ago that moving your hands is a sign of intelligence. So I often notice myself just way overdoing it.
Okay, you know what I mean? Italians must be extremely intellectuals. Yeah. Now, apparently on Boogie Nights, that was one of the things they did to do the bad acting in the porno scenes, was they didn't know what to do with their hands. So it is like a thing with ropey actors, let's say. So a solid introduction. I'll just do a quick spiel on the film we're discussing today, Last Action Hero. Is a fantasy action comedy from 1993, directed by John McTiernan, written by Shane Black and David Arnott, with uncredited contributions from William Goldman, Carrie Fisher and others, from an original screenplay by Zach Penn and Adam Leff. Starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Austin O'Brien, Charles Dance, F. Murray Abraham and Art Carney, the film follows young movie fan Danny Madigan, who is magically transported into the world of his favourite action hero, Jack Slater. As fiction and reality collide, the pair must stop a villain who escapes into the real world and threatens both universes. The film has a 6.5 rating on IMDb, with a Metacritic critic score of 44% and a user score of 7.4. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a critic score of 42% and an audience score of 48%. Last Action Hero grossed approximately $137.3 million worldwide, against a massive budget of about $85 million, making it a notable box office disappointment at the time. And on a personal note, folks, you don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger to be a hero. Sometimes you can just bully a kid who's weaker than you, or take drugs. Moving on. I love this film. I think it's great. I think it's the cat pajamas. I really do.
All right, so I think we're going to have another fall now.
Oh, no.
I think I have. Look, this film's okay. That's it.
Oh, that's even worse.
It's there's a myriad of things that I think are wrong with it. Do you know what I mean? And I think why it's like, I mean, we'll flesh it out a bit more, but it's way too long. It's grossly too long. Charles Dance is grossly underused. Which, if it was a 90-minute film, which it should be, then he's actually has the perfect amount of screen time. But spread that over 2 hours, 10 minutes. It's not enough. The kid, Danny Madigan, although he's not the worst child actor we've spoken about on this podcast, he's at times fucking tedious, and I can't stand him. And I don't think Arnie's good at poking fun at himself.
As kids today would say, no. Well, actually, in preparation for this, I did my favorite film podcast, apart from our own, is called The Projection Booth. I've mentioned it before. Yeah. Very early days for them, they did an episode, and it was originally co-hosted by two guys, and now it's just one guy called Mike White. And I wonder if one of the reasons he does it alone.
Is that Mike White of the White Lotus fame?
No, I don't think so. No, he's just not just, but he's a podcaster and a movie critic kind of a guy. Him and the other guy, they did 2 episodes on Last Action Hero. Yeah, he might take umbrage at that. And the other guy, the guy who liked it, was getting really like angry at Mike White because he didn't like it. Yeah. And I tend to not have opinions like that. I think some people do take it like, and I've actually stopped giving my prop because people are like, oh, you're a film guy, what did you think of this? And I usually kind of say something very middle of the road, people do get,
because if something means something to somebody, if somebody has an emotion, like, because I definitely, without enjoying it, an awful lot. Like, don't get me wrong, because that sounds like I hate the film the way I just introduced myself to it there. But like, I still have loads of nostalgia and all good and fond memories of this film.
Yeah.
It's more so looking back on it now That's the issue. But I remember loving this when I was younger. But I do understand people who do have that emotional connection towards something. If you turn around and say it's shit, that's why people always say, if you're worried about what people might say, if you're putting yourself out there, like for instance, us doing this podcast, just look at the worst review of your favourite film and see how, like, just because people hate things that you love and vice versa. Like,
I can't say it never happened, but I remember I made the mistake once of telling my opinions about Sex and the City to a room full of women, and I scarcely made it out of there alive.
Okay.
But
if it was that short of seminal TV writing.
I won't go in. Anyway, no, I tend not to react to things like that. So everything you said, I did find now the things that Mike White, the other guy, said about it, I did just go, I just don't agree with you, or I don't see it that way. I think a lot of people's problems with it is, and I understand this, is they're like, this is supposed to be a parody and it's not. And I go, I never saw it as one.
Well, then I think you're being very kind to it if you never saw it as one. Well, it's trying to be.
There's satire in it.
It becomes, my real issue with it, it becomes what it's mocking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I like it.
There's no argument with that.
I'm reminded actually, and I'm not saying I understand this film and other people don't. Because like even one of the guy, I said it was based on a script by these guys, Zach Penn and Adam Leff. And again, I would completely be on their side. If I were them, I'd be really pissed off. Because they said, I remember a quote from one of them said, like, what Steven Seagal film did they go to a video store in it? And I was like, oh yeah. Because they had an idea, this should be this thing. And then it got completely, in classical Hollywood style, it got completely changed. I remember a friend of mine said about
so what did he mean in that context? And
what he meant was, this is supposed to be a parody of action movies. Like he wrote, wrote a parody of action movies, whereas this is
in the Zaz.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was that. I read it. I found the script. I find scripts kind of hard to read, and I couldn't get through much of their script, which is not to say it's bad. I'm just saying,
you don't
for me,
engage with it that way.
And theirs was more of an out and out
comedy.
Like this, it was more of a direct takedown of action, whereas this, as you say,
it becomes what it's mocking.
It is essentially, just an action film.
Because don't get me wrong, like there's some amazing stuff in this, and especially when it's some of the meta stuff, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's really good and it's really effective. But then in the next scene, it does exactly what I just had to be joking about.
Their original script was, as I say, I didn't make it through much of it, but apparently the kid goes into the movie and then he starts going, no, you shouldn't do that, you should do this. And then I think it was called Arno Slater or something in the original version. He started listening more to him and started figuring out how to behave more appropriately. And this film is absolutely not that. I'll go into like how I kind of see it as, but it reminded me of a comment a guy I went to college with, he said about David Lynch films. He said, apart from the fact they're inappropriate and they wouldn't understand some of the stuff in them, kids are the best audience in a way for David Lynch films because they just would accept what they're seeing.
What's going on, whereas
adults try and intellectualize and like, what does that mean? And so on.
What's the meaning? And I genuinely, just on the side note, I genuinely believe that you can sit here till you're blue in the face trying to fucking contextualize David Lynch.
Yeah.
But I genuinely think a lot of it is, I'm just going to do this. And and people will talk about this for years to come, and it means absolutely nothing.
Well, it's just he's just like, this is just an idea I have. I'm going to put it out there.
I saw a video of him and he's going on about curtains. He's sitting behind the camera in Video Village or whatever, and he's like, oh, look at the colour of the curtains and all. So he doesn't give a shit about what's happening in the scene he's shooting. It's just like, but look at those curtains, look at the colour.
He's creating like something different, like we're trying to. So I think, and again, it's not to say I'm right and people are wrong, but when people go, oh, it should be like this or it should be like this, I saw this when I was a kid and, thought Arnold Schwarzenegger was the greatest thing ever. I just accepted it on its own terms. Yeah. And I still see it that way.
Part of the issue as well, as I mentioned, is Schwarzenegger, right? Because look, I mean, Schwarzenegger in an out-and-out action film, fantastic. You'll have no notes from me. Commando, Predator, brilliant. This, like in the video store that you mentioned there, right? This, I'm trying to do the whole... he's one of the greatest actors and all this. It's like, it's not. Like, I'm like, but it's the problem with Schwarzenegger, right? And I hate, there's die-hard Schwarzenegger fans out there that could lynch you for saying this. But I don't believe the man can actually act in the traditional sense. Do you know what I mean? I think he's very good in certain contexts, but when this whole meta being aware of himself thing does not work. He can't do it. He can't.
In a marked contrast to that other podcast, I will say I respectfully disagree. And I'm not saying this just to be contrary. I think in a way, apart from Terminator, I think this is in a way his best performance. Really? But again, I don't see it the way that you did as a send-up. I'll go in, and I think it's the reason people don't like it, and it's the reason that I like the fact, as you say, it becomes what it's parodying. But I'll maybe cross that bridge when I come to it. But I have to say, I take everyone's notes on it. Like, so the opening scene of this is meant to be the climax from Jack Slater 3.
Yes.
And I remember, like, a fairly highbrow critic's thing was, it's shot like the opening scene of a film and not the closing scene. And I go, yeah, and I just don't care.
See, that I don't care.
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what I mean? That type of stuff I don't care.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what's happening there, that's some of the good stuff that I think is in it. Because that really kind of feels like the fucking angry black...
the way there's a 10 million police cars there and all this.
All that shit works because that is literally... We've seen a million films like it. And it's like, but except we take them seriously because it's a darker tone.
Well, the thing, and the
only thing I didn't like is I've never seen an action film where the hero walks across 20 cars. I've never seen it, and I don't get it.
I do think that's very cool.
The big engines,
I think it's just like he's a renegade, plays by his own rule. That's all I think there. Now, I think the key to why this doesn't bother me, but a guy on that podcast, they had people calling in saying about this, and he says the scene where he disarms himself and the guy's like, is that the only one? He said that is just a slight exaggeration of a legit scene that could be in a Schwarzenegger film. And he said, so he should be it should be like a Zaz movie, like he's pulling the bazooka out of his arse pocket or whatever. And I go, no, I like the way it is, because it is just, hey, let's see if we can push the Arnie thing. He's already a self-parody. So, sorry, hit the mic, folks, take a shot. So it's just like a slight exaggeration. And it's just, I listened to the commentary track. John McTiernan has the world's most boring voice, I would say.
He does.
At no point does he ever say, well, I watched a bunch of movies and this is how they do it, or I was trying to... He just took it as what I see the film as, which is like a Wizard of Oz with Arnold Schwarzenegger as like and there's no real corollary for it, but it's like going into a magical world from your own boring world. Arnold Schwarzenegger's in there, and it's just like, hey, I'm kind of let loose to do a more exaggerated version of what I normally do as an action director. That is what I think he was making, and I like that, and I completely understand when people say it should be this or that.
It's not that, see, I wouldn't argue that it should be this or it should be that, because I try and stay away from that type of shit, because who am I to tell people who are writing or directing these things what they should and shouldn't do? I just engage with things that I like. I don't engage with other things. You know what I mean? That's how I do it. I find it should be whatever was meant to be done, but the problem I think with this is tonally, it's completely wrong. Because what's happening is the writers wanted one thing, the director wants another thing, producers want another thing, Hollywood wanted this, and it just turns into this kind of jumble of stuff that's going on.
For me, I do just think John McTiernan
is a very good director. Look, he's
director,
fantastic. There's nothing you can take nothing away from him.
And I completely take your point. Like, and again, it is again why I like it. So there's a bit of the commander, the chief is like shouting, and there's a bit in it, and this is again,
he's very funny.
He's great, yeah. It is McTiernan just playing with all these ideas. He turns around and he shouts like Mulcahy, and he turns around and it's all one shot and the camera racks focus. It's actually the guy who's Truman's best friend in the Truman Show, is the cop he's shouting at. Who's a throwaway part. And I'm like, that's just in there so McTiernan can like rack focus to a guy and show this depth. He is just going like, isn't this great of all these cop cars, whereas the Zaz guys would be like, isn't this ridiculous, there's all these cop cars. And I am a huge action guy, so I appreciate that. And there's another shot where when apparently even people who don't like the film like the bit where he goes, you want to be a farmer, here's a couple of acres.
Right, now I did not get that joke. What's that joke?
I always thought of it was I always thought of it was, I'm going to kick you so hard in the balls, there's going to be more space between your feet and your balls or something.
That's way too
But
intelligent.
apparently what it was like ache, as in aches and pains. So here's a few acres. I still see it the other way. Even though I just love Arnie when he's delivering that stuff. Just something about the rhythm of it works.
That's something that Arnie's very good at. That fucking deadpan one-liner type stuff. Like he's brilliant.
But it is not in any way shot like a parody. I remember in Team America World Police.
The thing is, I hear what you're saying. It's not shot like a parody. Nor should it be.
Ah, interesting.
Okay? So although the film does turn into what it's mocking, like I've said, I don't believe it should be shot in the style of a Airplane or a Zaz film. Like, do you know what I mean? It should be shot. You need to create because especially in scenes where you are in the action film.
Oh, well, what I mean is, it's not shot in a style that apes the way action movies were typically shot. So sorry, in Team America World Police, I remember them saying, we studied Michael Bay films and tried to film it the same way. McTiernan never tries to do that. He just does it like how he would direct it. So it's shot in like these really cool long takes. There's a great bit where Arnold, I just take the scene as nearly like a serious scene where Arnold kicks the door open on the roof. There's a shot where for no reason, it goes from a close-up of him, the camera pans down to show all the cop cars are still down. So, like they're actually on top of a building. And it is just this moment of excess for no reason.
Yeah, because one thing that I thought there was, how did they park? Because they're in like a zigzag formation. Like, how did they park them? Like,
you'd wonder. And then the other thing is like that's like a minute into the film. And as you say, the film has already become what it's ostensibly parodying, which is like hugely excessive but it's not. It isn't taking the piss out. But I just don't care because I'm like, this is amazing. Like the visuals of it are great, and but we just took that as like a straight action bit where the guy like throws the axe at him. I remember we thought that was the coolest thing ever. Yeah. Like
no, but see, because I remember that shit. Like, and I remember Tom Neon, God rest his soul, recently passed away. Yeah. I think that even though it's a very small part, like, I think he's brilliant.
Very memorable. Yeah, yeah.
And I like how he plays it.
Yeah, I will say
this is kind of a bit too. This brilliant Jack and all this, like, the way he's playing it. I think this is where the tonal shift is really comes into effect, is because that doesn't feel like a parody of the action villain genre.
I was gonna. This is something I want to talk about, but go on. Yeah.
So this is where so when I'm watching this, it's like there's an argument going on inside my head. Like, what do you, Mr. McTiernan and Mr. Schwarzenegger? What do you want me to watch? What am I watching here?
Yes. So, in the strict parody sense of it, that should be like a Russian mobster or a South African drug dealer.
This seems like a guy with some depth and some.
Yeah. Now, this is me defending the film, and I don't know that I'm being complete. I just want to defend it here. But I was watching it, and it always used to be like, what kind of fucking action film ends with the hero's son getting killed? Like, that's stupid. Now, this is me going out of my way to defend it. But in its defense, in Lethal Weapon 2, the love interest gets killed, but it is before the big final action scene. And I think there's some, fucking, I'm blanking on his name, Walker, Texas Ranger, Chuck Norris. Jesus Christ. There's some, like,
you won't be happy about that.
I know, yeah. He'll curse me. I'm the Antichrist now after Barack Obama. Do you ever see that video where he says like Barack Obama's the Antichrist on YouTube? Look it up, guys. There are like ones of his where he's chasing like serial killers or something like that. But like for a Schwarzenegger film, he didn't make movies like that. I guess you could kind of make the case, but it's an introduction to this film. It's not like a legit. It isn't a convincing scene from another film. It's very hot. Like, it just turned into, this guy, he needs a backstory. He needs to have trauma in his past, and it's like, that's not a parody though. I completely take that. It takes it out of the realm of parody, and it just makes it a legit movie on its own.
Even in Commando, right? For instance, which is a very.
That was his version of a normal guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but you know what I mean?
Sorry, guys, I knocked something over there. I'm not even going to pick it up. Fuck it.
But like, so Commando is like they give stakes about the daughter being kidnapped, but ultimately, like, he's going to do that in any way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, Commando's a great point because like Commando is in a way more exaggerated than this, and this is supposed to be the parody and the satire. Yeah. I just see it as, which, and again, McTiernan on the commentary says, he keeps saying it's a Cinderella story of a boy. I think he means Wizard of Oz. And I should say, I've never seen The Never Ending Story, but I hear that that's, you're sucked away into a magical, this film is told as it's a magical world story, and there's elements of satire when he gets into the Wizard of Oz, the Oz kind of a world. But it isn't, essentially, I don't see it really as a parody or even as a satire.
That's where, like, I suppose... But one thing I just want to touch on before we move on is Tom Noon's performance as I remember, still to this day, I remember back in the day, this fella freaked the fuck out of me.
He's very good,
genuinely, because this is the way I describe this film is like, this is like an ever. I don't remember where I seen this originally. I don't remember. I just remember for as long as I know, I've known what this film is. Do you know what I mean? So I was very young watching it for the first time, but I remember all over the through line throughout. Like, this fella, even now, freaks the fuck. I don't know what the extra teeth he has and all.
Yeah,
like,
the teeth, the eyes, and the way he's very like
calm, and he's just chill.
He's just very.
He's a killer customer, like. Do you know what I mean?
He's a great actor.
It's a dark.
Character. And in apparently like the kid being pulled off the roof was what they had. It's not actually in this scene because the camera. The joke is the camera the screen goes out of focus. But later on, that was a huge issue with the ratings board. The fact that the kid gets pulled over, because it is quite upsetting. Like, it's because they actually did pull the kid first of all, and just the way it's set up, like it's played straight, which it shouldn't be, I suppose, strictly speaking. But again, I accept the movie in those terms. Then we get to, I think, some of the directing that McTiernan does in the New York portion. Again, I can see people who are expecting it or think it should be like this. Just how shitty it looks, but how amazingly visual it is. And he was a truly great director.
Here's where, in terms of runtime and my feeling of it being overlong, this is where, like, immediately after this scene, from when he talks to, what's the name's guy? Gus, is it? The projectionist. Oh God, what's his name?
Frank, is this?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Jesus,
we don't get bogged down with that stuff.
Yeah, we're going to get caned for that now.
But so from there, from the point of where we realised that we're watching the climax to a film, this like the pacing completely throws me for a wobbler, because I don't like it's so long between now and when he gets actually sucked into the film. It feels it doesn't need to be that long, and then. I suppose I won't jump too far ahead, but it's just essentially, I think the first 50 minutes of this film could be 20.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it really annoys, because by the time I'm ready, I'm like, all right, we're coming to the climax now. I'm about 50 minutes in to an hour, but we're not. We're a long way away from anything close to it.
I have to say, it just doesn't bother me now. There's a scene coming up that has absolutely no narrative importance at all, but it's the one moment of genuine parody, the Hamlet thing. The Hamlet thing. And again, this speaks to why I love this. I look at the Hamlet thing and I'd be like, I'd watch that. I just think that's like, it's there's something rotten in the state of Denmark, and Hamlet, and he goes, "A state I hand, fair prince. Who said I'm fair?" And I'm like, I just enjoy.
No, I get it. Like,
I would flat out watch that, like 100%.
We already know that the kid's a cinephile. We don't need it to see him imagining, like, do you know what I mean?
I just love that. So I just think that's so great. But Arnie was already a parody anyway. Like, there is no real difference between to be or not to be. And remember, I promised to kill you last. I lied. Like, they're both equally as ridiculous. The film, it's kind of like, again, we talked recently about Woody Allen, the thing he says in Manhattan, and the guy says about he saw a satire on fascists, and Arnie will not appreciate this, but Woody Allen goes, well, it's hard to satirize guys in shiny boots. And it's hard to satirize Arnold Schwarzenegger because he's already exaggerated. Like Terminator, like the only, even in Total Recall, which is a legit great film where he plays like a character in it, it's still like an over the top satire of, like, kind of the violence and all this in it. But I do take your point. The bit where the guy breaks into the kid's apartment and holds him is like, it's really grimly done. Like, he's a great director, John. It has a real
there's a sense of there's a sense. There's also all of a sudden, like, this what we've seen so far. Again, it's a tone. It switches tonally because that becomes quite. That's quite difficult to watch at times.
No, yes.
Because it's the child
creepy,
and he's being fucking mean. Like, he's being really hurtful. Like, not only is it bad, it's bad enough that he's getting robbed at knife point. Yeah. But he's like, you piece of shit, you don't even have a decent TV. What's wrong with you?
And did you notice the kid has all these like cuts on his hand? Yeah, but before that happens, it's not from that.
So and it's never explained though, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not. No.
I always took that as he's self-harming or something. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not joking. Like,
well, there's bits where he walks out of the cinema. There's a bit where some guy walks past him, like kind of swipes at him just for no reason.
Oh, but yeah, but if you think of New York, right? Maybe not in the 90s, but what New York used to be around that time.
I think that was pre-Giuliani, like who's turned out really great, hasn't he? But he did, in his defense, he did clean it up. Yeah. Jesus, now again, another kind of technical tour de force from McTiernan where they set up the magic reality or whatever you want of the ticket. The way he uses the camera and the way it's blocked and the way I like how actually I forget the character's name as well, but the actor's Robert Prosky. The way he plays it, like for a moment you're like, what's this fucking creepy guy up to? Like the way he closes the doors. But he makes you believe the reality of that ticket. Apparently in the original script there was no ticket, like he just
appeared there.
He just randomly ended up in the movie. But through sheer performance and the directional choices, I'm like, I completely buy this now. Yeah, the way the sweeping camera work and all this, he was a truly great director.
You're getting it. No, I think there's issues tonally here, but you can't take away from some of the craft and some of the choice of blocking and stuff and some of the scenes here. Because not even in the action things. Because I think the mark of a great action director is not how they shoot an explosion, is how they shoot the lead up to an explosion. Can they do it well?
Yeah, it shows. Are they actually
some
putting
real
in
gravitas?
The effort? That's
and McTiernan has that in spades. Like.
It's the thing from Idiocracy. It's like I remember when you didn't just care about an arse farting, you cared about whose ass it was and why. The great action directors will always care like whose ass it is and why they're. Yeah. So then we get like this is again, even so he's sitting down watching the movie and it's like in the movie it's the pre-credit villain scene. And again, it's just shot like a normal action.
And this is to Charles Dance as Benedict, who I mentioned he's grossly underused in my opinion. Yeah. There's just not enough of him in it.
I remember when he showed up in Game of Thrones, I was like, oh, fuck me, that's Charles Dance from Last Action.
That's Benedict.
Yeah, I do think he's brilliant.
He is truly, and the thing is, again, this is the reason why his villain works, is because he's not playing it as, that villain could be in any action film.
He is just generic British kind of. Apparently, they wanted Alan Rickman to do it, and
it's hard to argue that
would have been great. I love Charles Dance, but Rickman would have been good as well. Yeah,
and especially with the whole Hans Gruber thing. And
that would have been a more of a direct parody. Then it's more obvious. Like whereas they got just a guy who might play that kind of a villain.
But he's fucking brilliant. I think Charles Dance, his performance in this is
the way he played just. In terms of a performance, he's great. That was something criticized.
But again, I'd argue that tonally, maybe it's completely wrong for what this film is trying to do. That's again, it's like I'm confused by what's going on. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, I'll get maybe into my kind of takes on it. So that scene could just be
in an action film.
In an action film, yeah.
Bit, some of the dialogue between Ferretti or whatever you call him and
Vivaldi, I think.
Vivaldi, and Schwarzenegger's second cousin.
Yeah. That is funny.
That is very funny. Yeah.
There is some bit. There's a nice little bit in it. It's
some of the dialogue between those two that was a bit. It's not. It's the only thing that you could argue that isn't realistic. In terms of an action film, it's all a bit kind of. This dialogue isn't sticky or funny, but it's playing. They're playing that as if it's a joke,
playing it up. There is a bit. I like this about McTiernan's direction, and he there's a bit where he's going to the second cousin. God, I'm blanking. We are under a bit of pressure when you're recording, guys. Anthony Quinn, who's a very famous actor. There's a bit where he goes, does he know that? And then he stops and he like looks over his shoulder and he gives it. And I just like the movie wasn't afraid to stop for like a minute. And I'm pretty sure, because he does it later on, I think it's Michael Kamen does the score. The score gives it a little like, ooh. Like the score kind of fills the air of that moment as in, it's just taking its time to give. Which again, is that appropriate for what's a parody scene? Probably not, but I, just as a movie fan, kind of like it. The straightest it gets to an actual flat out parody of something from an action movie is the following bit where Schwarzenegger shows up and the police it is completely illogical. The cops are raiding the house.
Yeah, but the thing is, again, this is where some of the good stuff for me is. It's like, because this I find great, because I mentioned that the kid I find annoying at times. Now he's only doing, I think he's a victim of what he's being asked to do. I don't have that in personal against the young fella playing him.
Yeah.
Because he's making all these faces and all of the screen, like, and I fucking hate
there
that.
is a shot of his face where he's meant to be like watching and enjoying the action, and it's like, okay, I don't know if
nobody's ever, even like me and you would be cinephiles. We've never sat there and like, been like, they might have in our head when we're describing afterwards,
yeah.
But nobody actually does that. Which, I mean, he's a victim of what he's being asked to do.
Yeah, that is true. That's
but it's very fucking annoying. Like, do you know what I mean? And I am.
Well,
I will take it out on him. Like.
Again, on that podcast I mentioned, he was singled out as, and I think it was Shane Black. I saw a comment. There was an article written for Empire, and Shane Black had a quote like, "The casting of that kid is one of the greatest missteps in Western culture." So that's a bit harsh. He never bothered me. I can see it now when I watch it. Knowing people find him annoying, I go, I can see it. He doesn't annoy me.
But again, it's only in parts. It's not like I mean, it's like the kid from Volcano. It should be shot, and he should have never been on screen. Like,
that's true.
Whereas I wouldn't go as far with this.
No, I wouldn't.
He's a bit older. I don't think he's. You can call him a child in the traditional sense. Again, I know he's young.
I think some of the point is he is annoying, and I like how Schwarzenegger plays it. Like, please stop fucking annoying me. Now this scene, and again, there's a moment where Schwarzenegger walks up to his second cousin's door. And there's a bit where he like lifts up his foot to kick it in, and the music kind of goes doo-doo-doo, and then he stops and he just opens the door. And again, I like that the film was taking time for that. But again, McTiernan is making a film that I think wasn't sold to audiences, like this parody thing. And I did always like the countdown on the things, which makes on pieces of
it makes no sense,
which makes no sense.
So we could have picked them up 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
And
now the film could have done with maybe more stuff like that. To be fair, like as you say, I enjoyed the kind of parody aspects too.
And then obviously the explosion happens. It's a bomb.
Yeah, and how excessive it is. Like there's a separate explosion in the cop car and all this, and
which is very good. See, that's some of the good stuff. And I do like the fact that the kid goes, "He's alive. 2 cops are dead."
Yeah, he knows.
That's
exactly,
the good stuff.
Yeah, minor wound,
you know I mean? Because that's the meta stuff.
Yeah,
the meta stuff in a lot of cases, rather than the satirical kind of parody attempt and stuff. The meta stuff where it's fully aware of what we're watching. Yeah, and the characters know that we're watching them on screen. That works really well.
I can see why people wanted it to be more of that, but again, I it's not my hang up with the film. But that whole scene is quite good. Like there's a lot
and and the typical fucking line, 2 days from retirement.
2 days,
like,
and even the Lethal Weapon kind of saxophone comes in. So the guys start chasing him then, and again, the film is the thing is, McTiernan was not directing a parody in his mind. He never even acknowledges it, as far as or if he does it very minor league on the This is just a slightly exaggerated, over the top, cool action scene, like where he's swerving from side to side on the road and the cars are blowing up on either side.
And again, do you reckon, right? Because obviously you look at like people like McTiernan and all, fucking masterful action directors. Do you reckon they didn't anticipate slowing things down and pausing? Because the blocking of, I noticed this in nearly all Schwarzenegger films. It's like they didn't realise that people one day would be able to stop. Do you know what I mean? The thing, and clearly see, because you mean, you look at a lot of films and there's always stunt doubles doing things, but they're hidden. Or they're trying that. Like here, there's long enough shots, like 2 or 3 seconds, where it's clearly somebody else driving the car. Like,
well, McTiernan might say, because apparently he said something about there's intentional continuity errors. He might say, "Oh, that's kind of the point," or something.
Okay,
I think in earlier drafts of the scripts, I don't know that specifically on that, but I know in a Shane Black draft there was a bit where he took like the Schwarzenegger's character took a scratch that was on the film and grabbed it and like stabbed someone with it. So I'm wondering, were there scenes where like Danny Mannigan is like, oh, he's just changed into another guy, or something like that, where I don't really need that stuff for me. The thing with the scratch, I went like, glad they didn't do that. That's fucking. But maybe there was.
That's a bit much too early. Maybe something like that at the very end.
Yeah,
when he
maybe it wasn't. I don't know where it happened now,
Mm.
but I didn't like the fact that it happened at all because I was like, oh, it's a bit. But then when you think about it, yeah, if in the world of the film, are these scratches just there? Or if someone has a flashback, are you just living inside of it at that time or whatever? But there's some cool. I just like this as an action scene in the funny bit where the guy gets killed with the ice cream cone, and Arnie's like, "Ice that guy the cone of phrase." So this is the scene where the kid gets sucked into the film. So the dynamite comes out of the screen and like blows him in. Now, what's your take on? Because your man on that podcast really hated this line. So Arnold Schwarzenegger's like, "Who the hell are you?" And the guy says, "I'm Danny Madigan. I'm a kid." And the guy hated that line. He's like, "That's the worst line in the history." And I always just took it as, I've just appeared here. He probably can't see me
no idea
very
what's
clearly.
going on.
Yeah, I'm just a kid. Like, don't kill me. I don't see the problem with that line.
Yeah, I don't see a massive problem with that line either, especially when you think about think of all action heroes. What are they doing in this moment? They're just shooting everything around. They're not paying attention to what's going on around them. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? They're mowing everything down. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's him going, whoa, just don't shoot.
Yeah, I'm a kid. That's how I took it. But look, horses for courses.
I thought he was a small person. Like that's what that character would say if he ends up blowing his head off.
Jack Slater's world, like who knows what's going on yet. So look, I just happen to think it's a really cool scene, the action scene, like they end up on
No, but see, this is again, there's aspects of this that I really like, because when they're driving around and stuff, now obviously I mentioned the stunt guy driving and stuff, but that doesn't annoy me so much that I'm like, I hate it. But because I do like the over the top, the way he goes up on two wheels but around the Tesco truck, and then they all of a sudden end up in this laneway, and then that's when he goes, that's when Danny Madigan realizes, this is a movie set. Like that's really good stuff. It's like the reason why it's changed so quick is because they're on a movie set. This is not real. Like,
and I think there's bits in there that make me think he hasn't quite accepted, like where he goes, "You're going to play chicken like Jack Slater." Like he's just like, who is it? Like he doesn't know what's happened strictly. We know because it's kind of obvious. Now, okay, so that's a parody scene. Now this is where, and maybe I'm justifying my own liking of it. I think essentially after that. And this is where I take the guy's point of, they never go to the movie store in a Steven Seagal film. So what's going on? I take a lot of the rest of the film, or a lot of the scenes that people might argue with, as because this guy is living in this universe, we are now privy to bits that we don't normally see in these films. So now I can't really justify. I just think it's funny that you see Sharon Stone from Basic Instinct or the T-1000 or
I think that's great.
The animated cast.
I like
that. People, they go, what's the reality? And I heard an interview with Shane Black where he's like, what is that? What is the reality of that? And I just go, he's just in Oz. Like he's in this weird place where all this stuff is happening.
Exactly. Like, and I mean, like even I watched this with Freddie, who's my 10-year-old son, and this was his first time watching it. And he's a big Mortal Kombat fan. And a downloadable character is the T-1000 from Terminator 2, Robert Patrick, as him. And he literally, really? He noticed him, he saw him. Like the rest of them would have been lost on him.
Apparently, there's an Empire kind of write-up on this, like a retrospective, and I think they even interviewed Robert Patrick, and he said, like, Schwarzenegger called me up, and like, he didn't say he strong-armed me, but he was like, you're doing this because you did it in Wayne's World 2, you're doing it again. I was like, all right, you don't say no to him. Yeah, I take it as, now obviously the bit with the captain and where they introduced the F. Murray Abrams, I like that, like, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, John, practice. I was like,
that's
a parody. That's like a satire.
But it's like the Predator, Dylan.
You son of a bitch. Yeah. And they might actually get F. Murray Abrams to play a part like that. You know?
Definitely. Yeah.
And
he looks the part. He looks like that character.
He does. He looks like that. You know. And I like the bit of "Don't trust him. He killed Mozart." I'm like, that's clever. I can see why people want more of that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. The scene in the police chief's office is more of a direct parody, but again, this is some really good stuff. It's like because I know how you feel about it, and then the stuff that happened between the two characters that nobody else should see except an audience. Yeah, and this is where the guy playing the captain is really funny. He's like, "You told me you didn't tell everybody." He was a former American. He played like literally the same role in the 48 Hour films, if I'm not wrong. Now, this is the start of where
before you go on. Because I didn't want to jump this far ahead at the time. But from here until New York, too long. It is so long. It does not need to be. Like the amount of times, because I always gauge a film on in 2026, when do I get the fucking undying urge to grab my phone?
Okay.
And I do that in the cinema as well. If at any time I check the time, right, that's a lull for me.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? The amount of times here where I was fighting, just get your hand out of your pocket.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's just it seems like a big, long, like, I like the video store. Does he have to, everything that happens after that, does it have to be
it is an excessive film. That stuff doesn't, but
not excessive in a good way. It's just long.
Oh no, I take it. I watched it on a long flight in preparation for this, and I was amazed at how well it held my attention for a film that I watch quite often.
This is where it really starts to lose, like, for me.
Interesting. Well, this is maybe I think, you know, I might be a bigger Schwarzenegger fan or like fan of like this kind of thing in general. This is the beginning of where I love Arnold's performance, because he plays the scene to the kid as complete irritation. So this is what I mean is, I think in a way he's playing this guy as like, I'm now playing like the reality of my life. Like, you just get the snippets every now and then, like with the action scenes or like the stock scenes. But when he's like, he goes like, "There's a cartoon cat," and Schwarzenegger. This is what makes it funny. Is he goes,
should be,
yeah, he was only suspended for a month. He does not play it like, he just plays it as like, I'm annoyed at you. Shut up. Like, and I find that very funny and very convincing. Like, especially the scene later where he goes, "You've just revolutionized everything. All I have to do is drive around, point at the house and say, the bad guys are in there." And he just says it like, you are so fucking annoying. And I find that really interesting.
The bad guys
are in there, yeah.
But this is chilling, where we meet, not where we meet Charles Dance, but where the characters meet Charles Dance's Benedict.
Yes,
but he's playing this so fucking, because even though it's ridiculous how he's pointing at the dogs and getting them to. That
is a legit amazing.
That scene. Is chilling.
The bit where he's like, "Who's asking?" The Tin Man. And the way Schwarzenegger goes, why am I wasting time with a dime store putz like you when I could be doing something really dangerous, like arranging my sock drawer? And two, how exactly are you going to snap your fingers after I rip off both? That is just a scene from another movie. And I just love that shit. I just think that's fucking that whole scene where they're doing the tin, what do you say, you and Toto hit the bricks? I'm like, that's just nice, clever kind of dialogue, you know?
But see, this is where you're going to get a real lot of fucking resistance from me in terms of giving this, because I'm sorry, right, we've seen that. Now do the scene where the daughter gets, or the Danny and Meredith get fucking get attacked by Charles Dance or whatever, and then bring me to New York. This is, I really find this difficult to.
I'm not going to insult your intelligence by saying it's a very disciplined. There were like some of the quotes from McTiernan were like, it's literally fresh from the camera roll, and they just put it in the movie and they cut the heads and tails off some of the scenes. I think just for me, I'm such a fan of his directing style that some of that carries it through. Now, another point, now I know you, because you have issues with this part of the film. Another thing that your man on the podcast said, he said, "This is so stupid. Why does he spend all of his time trying to convince him he's in a movie?" And that to me seemed like something a kid would do. I don't know. That didn't bother me at all.
See, because there's elements, I do find it quite annoying as a viewer.
Yeah, interesting, right?
I'm not really thinking about it as what would a kid do. At this stage, I'm out of the narrative, and I'm debating, I'm confused, and I'm getting tick with the film in my own head. So I'm not looking at it as, well, that's what a kid would do. I'm being very critical of everything that's going on. Do you get me?
That doesn't, and it seemed to me to be,
there's a flash where he goes, where he's in the office with the two guys, with the captain and Jack Slater, and he basically says, "Oh no, I just fell off in the position." So he gives up on trying to convince him, but then he goes back to trying to convince them again. So again, it's a part of the film that it loses focus on what it's trying to achieve. That should have been the point where the kid realizes, well, these aren't going to believe me, so I have to play this like. But he doesn't.
It just doesn't. But I like the scene in the video store especially because I think you see very naturalistic acting from old Arnie, where he's like, "We had a very romantic scene together." I was like,
"That's how he does it."
Not even acting. That is how he picks up chicks. Holy Jesus!
Yeah, but again, there's a very intelligent piece of writing there. It's about, I guarantee there's only 9,999.
Oh, the way Schwarzenegger says, That's why we have area codes. I really think he's very, very good. So we get, I do love that scene with him and Charles. Again, that, but it is from a straight film. Like there's no two ways
that
about
could
it.
happen and you strip out all everything else that's the film is attempting or doing successfully. That's an action film. You've seen that.
But that's why we like them, is because they work, you know. Yeah. So then we show up at his daughter's house. Now again, I am not going to sit here and not tell you the film isn't excessive, like it's this necessary and all this. So they show up at the house. She's married to Pete Sampras, that woman, isn't she?
Is she?
She was speaking of Mortal Kombat, she was in the original Mortal Kombat movie. She's Sonya Blade in that. She's fine in this. She just disappears at a certain point. Yeah, she is just there. Like, I suppose
it's probably quite apt for.
Yeah. If at any point, by the way, during this podcast, I say, well, they're parodying that, please just shoot me. Okay. They were not, I think, trying to make a parody film. They were trying to make like a Wizard of Oz film, and it's not an excuse to say, oh, it's a parody of eye candy. No, it's not. She's in there for a fucking reason, and they're trying to make a legit film out of this, which I think they were successful at. Now, this is a bit where, again, they're making a proper movie where Arnie sees the picture of his dead son, and he leaves because he's so upset. Now, this is a bit weird. Did you notice there's like two flashbacks? He's driving in the car and it flashes back and it stops just as the guy's about to pull him over.
Oh, yeah.
And then immediately afterwards, he's like getting a magazine for some reason, and it just flashes back again.
Yeah.
That to me is like they ran out of time. That's the one bit in the movie. And I think like it tells you what you need to know, basically. But that to me is like, they wouldn't have done that if they'd had a bit more time. Like, it's just kind of odd. Like it doesn't work. It doesn't fail. But it's like,
no, it still achieves what it's meant to be.
Yeah,
but
that's
it's
just weird.
Again, it's clunky and it makes you go, oh, it takes you out of things. Like, do you know what I mean? It breaks up the flow.
It works. Again, I've never really stopped watching this. If I'd have taken a 15-year break where I went back to it, I might have more of an issue with it. But I just never did. I just rewatched it often.
I definitely have. Like before this, like, it's not that long. It's a few years since I've seen it. Do you know what I mean? So going back to it in an analytical context. It could fall to something.
Fair enough, yeah. I don't know that it stands up to scrutiny. That's being faint about it now, I would say. We get again though, I like the action scene. It's quite Charles Danson all show up at the house and
again some really good stuff like where Danny in a film is finding his courage or whatever, like, which I think is the only reason for the mugging scene at the start, is because you see this weak little
they
kid.
set that up, but they never really
it's
pay
not
it
really,
off.
not really. But you can see him kind of, if you dare hurt harm a hair on her head.
Oh, that's
and
great.
I love that when he just walks out and he walks right up. Not only does he pull it out of her head, which arguably could be enough to harm he walks over and just rips it in half.
He actually did have a hair. You can see it on the fucking 4K finally. Yeah. No, it's he's just great, and the way he goes, like he's saying, like, I should tell you, I have killed people younger and smart, and just the way he says it, and you're like, that's great. That's why you get a British.
No, I love it. Yeah. And but I did find myself thinking, who is younger and smarter than this kid?
This guy's a monster.
Oh
like, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Because really, but that's so effective because it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
This guy's the real deal.
He just plays it well. I would have to say, okay, does he have much depth to him? But then I don't. I get your man now on the...
I think it comes... Again, it's taken too long to get to New York, but when Benedict is in New York, I think his depth as... Or maybe the overall depth of the character comes through. But we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll have to. We'll get. There's just, I like the action scene. It's quite witty, and there's don't give up your day job, and I'll never leave home without it. And the bit where I remember how funny me and my brother found the bit where he's the kid is cycling at them, and then they do the ET thing. That was quite funny.
Now, and again, here's where some of the again, it's probably I just wanted more of this. And not what McTiernan was attempting.
Yeah,
I think that's. Enough. I think if I'm conversating, I think that's where my issue lies. Like, do you know what I mean? But like, I love when he goes, "Oh no, I'm the comic relief."
Yeah,
and he goes, "It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work."
Yeah,
and he goes fucking off flying. Like,
and the ET thing I thought was very funny. No, it's one actually funny enough. I'm surprised you caught. I remember thinking a lot of the dialogue in this is kind of nearly muddled. Like he does just kind of say, "Oh no, I'm the comic relief," and I remember being surprised that people heard it that clearly because I was like, "Okay, I think I'm on this film's level."
Yeah.
Apparently, I remember hearing quotes a lot from McTiernan where he says, "I get in trouble because I don't really listen to what people say." He's very, very visually focused, and there's a bit of trivia on IMDb where it says there was a really bad test greeting where like people couldn't hear what people were saying, and I was like, oh, okay, there we, because it was a bit rushed apparently. And there's deleted scenes finally now on the 4K, and there's bits where it's just like, Jesus, you can't fucking hear a word anyone's saying.
Did you know, I watched the deleted scenes, and some of them they're just extensions rather than different
some of them
scenes.
Are,
like, do you know what I mean?
Some of them are really tonally off. Like the bit where they're waiting in New York, they reshot that one, and it's very, very.
Do you see the alternate ending? We'll talk about that maybe at the end.
With his mother and all this. Yeah, I actually didn't hate the stuff with the mother as much as some people did. I just found her very believable, and she's a likable actress. Mercedes Rule, if I'm not getting that wrong. I have to say, so there's a nice little action scene, and I just always thought this is again where Arnie I thought was brilliant, where the kid figures out, this is a PG-13 movie, so he writes a bad word. And the way Arnie plays, like he says, say this word, he was like, hey, grow up. And he just plays it like, listen, kid,
again,
fuck off.
This is the stuff that I wanted to see.
Yeah,
I was expected
good.
to see.
Yeah.
Because that's a clever thing. Like, you were making a film for kids.
Yeah.
You can't say this.
Like,
try it.
I don't want to say it. But I always love the bit where the guy's with the eyeball and he goes, vengeance is click. And I was like, don't touch. And then the whole fucking house blows. Just the timing of that. I can kind of see people going, there's the movie right there. Yeah. And there's bits in the commentary where McTiernan goes, the way Slater drives, where he reverses into things and he knocks things over, and McTiernan's like, that's what the film should be. It should have that rhythm. It should have that irony.
And like even like when he's driving anywhere, and like he goes up the wrong side of the underground car
park, driving like a madman.
Yeah.
I kind of take that point. Now the film does work for me. This is the bit where, and now this is where I think we really get into, there's the scene in. So he gets fired in the next scene with the. There's literally steam coming out of the chief's ears, which is funny. I get the way the film is shot. Dean Semler is the DP who shot fucking like Mad Max 2 and all this. And McTiernan knows his way around the camera. When they go into Jack Slater's apartment, and it's the most depressing place I've ever
empty, bare walls.
Even the lighting is like quite realistic, and they do have the funny gag of he shoots the guy in the closet.
I thought that was good. There's always a guy.
Yeah, but this is what I mean about. That's a parody of like, okay, but like, I always got the sense this is a scene that would never actually be in the film. Now we're living outside the frame of the film.
I know what you mean.
Because the kid is there, and I find that very interesting.
It's not when you put it in that context.
Yeah,
I can appreciate that. But again, my main issue is just that you could have this scene and still not have it be so long.
I get you.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, what's funny is then they have it's excessively long,
but I like the gag. I like the empty apartment. I like the gag of shooting the guy through the thing, but I don't need the kind of emotional. It's just you think I'd marry a girl with the recorder. I don't need that.
That's part of my seeing it as like they would never tell you in the real film that that's a fake person calling up. They would never acknowledge that his daughter's a lunatic.
That he has an emotional.
Yeah. So this is the reality, and again, that is showing that they're making a film different than what the original script was, which is classically kind of Hollywood. Having said all that, now I take your point. Like this bit's very long, and then they cut out the entire build up to the huge set piece that's coming up. So the whole thing is someone was just assassinated, who's completely off screen. This guy called Leo the Fart.
Yeah,
and they figure out like what's happening with it, and it's going to be this huge set piece that they've never bothered to set up. And there's something Shane Black is still annoyed by. Like I heard an interview where he's like, they never show any of that. That was what made it work. Having said that, I'm still a fan of this the whole Leo the Fart scene. The stuff with F. Murray Abraham, I can't really defend that. I find that
again
fine.
That's too much. There's too much of them just walking. Like you can get to the point where he realizes there's no access to the roof a lot quicker than what they do. Like
I do love the punchline to it where the cat shoots him. That's so fucking stupid. But he's like, I won't make that mistake again. And there's no even squibs. He just literally cartoon like falls over, and it's the cat that shot him. I'm like, again, all right, that's funny.
that's where the film doesn't know what it's trying to be like. Do you know what I mean? I like that. I like that in isolation. Yeah. But in the overall context of the whole thing, it's just what's going on? I just
find it funny the way Arnie just is like, thanks, Whiskers, as if it's perfectly normal. I just find that funny. I do like, and this was something a lot of people criticized, was how long this scene goes on for. Like, it's nearly in real time, the bomb.
Yeah.
Or I do like I have to say, a lot of people, it's a fart gag. I think in a way what makes it work. So when Arnie goes, they stuffed him full of like this nerve gas or whatever.
Yeah.
And he goes, you know what that means? And it cuts to the kid, and the kid is like, yeah. The kid is like, oh God, we're doing this. I think the film acknowledging, yeah, all right, this is a bit much. And I'm like, yeah, I'm on board with that. If it was just a fart gag, I wouldn't be as much. But that to me is the film going, it's okay. We know this is ridiculous. That makes it work for me.
Yeah, it's
everyone's mileage may vary.
It's not bad.
Now, I do just like this as an action scene. And I like the way Arnie plays. Is like, good God, this man's not dead. And he's like dragging him out of there. And everyone,
like, what's he say? He has a line where he goes, he said something where he
he was a good man, a flatulent man. Was that it? Or?
No. Where he's actually leaned over and he's
he goes, help me. He does it with a squeaky voice.
Yeah.
And I do like the bit where a guy goes, I'm a doctor, and he goes, here, check his chin. And he knocks him out. I do just find that's funny. Yeah. That's funny. Slapstick. No,
yeah.
Flat out.
Because if that's part of the film that I thought I was watching.
I will say now, that is just slapstick, and that's parody. The bit in the lift, again, and I can see why people go, that to me though, it turns into just a straight action scene where he's fighting the helicopter, but I'm like, it's a great action scene. I just like it. Do you know what I mean? And the way he shoots. And
I was surprised to see that there's actually quite a lot of this that's not in the card that he does himself. And
a
lot of it. I saw
that was a big thing at the time.
A lot of wire work and stuff like.
Fair. He was this was a real his baby. Like I think, was it John McTiernan or someone said, I talked to him like a week or two after it flopped, and it was the first time I'd ever heard him like really be down. Like even I bought his autobiography, Arnie, and he talks about his affair more than he literally just says in this movie, Last Action Hero came out and it didn't do well. Maybe we could have done this better or that better. That's it. Like that's all he used to say about it. I think it was a pretty big disappointment for him. Yeah. I just a lot of people, they say, that scene just ends with a fart gag. I'm like, sure, the whole thing has been a fucking fart gag. Like, what's your point?
It was just very long.
It doesn't bother me. I'll take that.
But again, would this be very long if everything else wasn't so long for me? Do you get me?
Maybe not. Yeah, I take your point absolutely. Yeah. And I do like where he goes, silent but deadly. I'm like, come on, that's funny. And I like the gag of the kid goes, tar actually sticks to some people, and he just has like tissues, and he's like literally patting himself.
Yeah. But that's brilliant. That's some of the great stuff. And again, we missed it at the video store, but he's like, where the kids question him why every woman is gorgeous.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? Because that's what the film is doing well for me.
Yeah, he goes like, no, this is California. Yeah. That again, I can see people going, come on, more of that, please.
Yeah.
But I can say I'm going along with it. Now, there is another interesting bit, and again, to my point about the film kind of existing sometimes outside the margins of the normal story. The bit where, because if you remember, Benedict has the ticket, and there is just a scene with him at the house, and I got that feeling again is like the narrative kind of demands that we see this. But we would never actually see, he doesn't have much of a private life now, to be fair, but even just seeing him chilling out in the evening, I got like, this is kind of interesting. This is, and I'm not saying it's a genius pulp level fiction. Pulp fiction level of, dissolving deconstructing the genre, but I find it
this is at times deconstructing the genre.
It is not hugely well, but
no, ultra intellectual level like maybe like Pulp Fiction does.
Call me crazy. I find that interesting.
I like it, but like I mean, again, it's definitely pulled like from the kind of Pulp Fiction type stuff.
Yeah.
But I love, but all bad guys aren't bad all the time. Like I like seeing them chilling.
He was just that's how he relaxes at home. I think it's because it's soon after that. So this is the one scene that I'm like, I see what he means when he says McTiernan, they just cut the heads and tails off scene. It's a really nice shot actually, but he walks into the house and Anthony Quinn is like, oh, what happened? And he goes, oh, it was amazing. And it is just one shot until it gets to the close-up at the end where he shoots him. And I just think it's like the way he goes, And I just like this, the way he delivers it. He goes, "Oh, Benedict, you're my friend. You do a 360. 180, you moron. If I did a 360. And just the way he delivers it, I'm like, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Now, it is a bit weird when he starts talking to the camera. I found that really odd. And I'm like, what is that supposed to be? Because they don't talk to the... That is a bit where I'm like, even in Lethal Weapon, they never talk to the fucking camera. Like, there's no justification for it apart from this is movie world or something.
Yeah, but again, the film doesn't know what it's doing.
No, it doesn't know. That could have been gone, yeah. Now, this is... I liked the bit where the henchman, the kind of odd job guy is like, can you need anything? He goes, no.
Oh, yeah, he's like, odd job. That's who it is.
He is odd job, yeah. He's... That exact same actor is in The Running Man. He's the guy, the ice hockey guy.
Okay.
The Running Man. But I like the bit where Charles Dance goes, but the pool could benefit from some attention. I'm like, call me crazy. I like that. So this is the scene then where Arnie and the kid burst in the fucking Jeep and he throws him through the wall and he ends up in the real world and they chase him in.
And then bang, I can get back on board.
Okay, good. Now, this is again where I'm amazed actually because this... I think one of the bigger critiques you could make of the film is the whole point now they're in the real world, but they still have these crazy actions. It's like the party is like, here's another explosion for your movie, kid, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Now, but see, one thing is it's the stark contrast, because obviously while we're in LA, it hasn't been dark. Yes, that doesn't make sense in the film.
Yeah, where Schwarzenegger, we're in New York.
Yeah, and it's dark and it's
horrible.
It immediately makes you feel, okay, we've changed here. Because you get, even if they shot New York, and this is where the intelligent filmmaker comes out in McTiernan, because if they shoot that during the day and it's not raining, like all of a sudden we haven't really changed anywhere. We're still in this, because everything is sun-kissed and shiny in LA.
Beautiful.
And then all of a sudden the gritty kind of streets of New York, and that's very well done. And again, this is where I kind of go, because from here to the end now it isn't very long. Do you know what I mean?
No, they're in the fucking movie world for a long time. Yeah.
And just that's where the film really falls down for me. But again, like I said, once they get back into the real world, and because I just kind of find like I don't know what they were attempting trying to make it that long. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like the fact that there was deleted scenes in this, it blows my mind.
I just think they didn't have the time to cut it down. Yeah. That's honestly what it sounds like. Now, this is again what I mean though, is there's the bit where he's going to play chicken with him, and it's shot in one take where it's in the distance, but it's still like this hugely spectacular car wreck. And I'm like, all right, you're kind of splitting the difference here. Of like, but it doesn't bother me. But I like how, again, the way Arnie plays it, like he's just exasperated by the kid. He's like, look, he's dead. What do you want? He's dead. And then it turns out, no, he's presumably, they are very nebulous. Like, did he escape because of the ticket, Benedict? Or did he just get out of the car or what happened? They seem to say it's the ticket. But then I like the bit where Slater sees the Schwarzenegger poster and he's like...
I knew I wanted to bring something up here. Right?
Oh, good.
So before I was able to get back on board, right, it did cross my mind, how come there wasn't all EMTs and police officers and all when they got back in after the explosion at the cinema?
Yeah, well...
Do you know what I mean?
Good. Yeah, well, there's... That really, I think the logic of that is a bit of an issue.
It's a big issue.
Yeah. I like the guys, and the projectionist guy slept through an explosion.
But that's true. And not only that, but they did already have the thing where the popcorn falls on the dynamite earlier on, and you hear it.
Yeah, I always just took it as that was it, the popcorn touching the thing, but it didn't actually put it out. Well, I don't know.
But the problem is you caused the issue then later on in the film that the explosion happened and we couldn't
again, if we're looking for logic, there's a huge logic problem.
But this is meant to be where the logic is.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely, like in reality it should be like they try and have a car chase and the cars won't start, or you bump into someone and the car just cuts out or something, but they still play it like a big action movie. Like, actually, I think it's this scene, and I noticed it maybe this points to the rush job. The score in this scene is just a looping guitar line, and I don't think it's commenting on anything. I think it's just we've no fucking time, just loop it. Just loop. If you're listening for it, it's just like it just goes for like a pretty long time. Now, I do like the scene where they show up at the cinema again, and they're talking to the robber. Nick is the projectionist's name. There we go. They're talking to him.
We always get there in the end.
Yeah. I actually like the scene where I think it's very funny where he introduces him to his mother and he goes, "Hello, I'm Arnold Braunschweig." I thought that was very funny. And I like how he wakes up in the morning and like Jack has become like he's like, oh, I'm actually kind of a normal guy. Like, he's like, what is this? You're going to the cinema, like making your mother worry. And like, and I love it, the apartment, how authentic it is.
Yes. Yeah,
it is this tiny, horrible, shitty New York apartment that is legitimately really small. It's probably a set or the cameras wouldn't fit in there, but I love that. That's what I mean though. It's not real world. It's the movie real world, which again, I am fine with, but you know, other people maybe like, oh, what's going on here or there. Now, okay, the logic of the final showdown, which is Benedict says, we need to kill Arnold Schwarzenegger at the premiere of Jack Slater, makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
Very much, I'm still in the film world. I'm still in this fantasy land.
It just doesesn't make any sense. Like it's fine. The movie, it's like the Casablanca thing of the letters of transit.
Tom Noonan is back.
Tom Noonan. I do like that. Now it's still, the direction is still excellent. That scene with Tom Noonan, the way it's like in one shot. And he's I understand how this would be for you, but I get just the quality of the filmmaking carries, and the fact I am on board. I like the movie, but like the plot of why would killing Schwarzenegger kill Jack Slater? It doesn't make, the movies already exist, so it doesn't make any sense. But I do like the idea of taking the Ripper out like that, because you remember them so well from the opening.
100%. It would have been a travesty if he didn't pop back up somehow. Like, do you know what I mean? Because he's so memorable.
Yeah,
and he's
I
so
do like actually how they have the real Tom Noonan, and he's such a genteel kind of a gentleman compared to the other. Yeah. Now there is a bit kind of here and there. I think the climax is the thing more we're talking about, but this is apparently in one of the deleted scenes it was cut out. So Danny's father died. And there is, in one of the deleted scenes, they're just kind of chilling out, like, you know, on a stakeout or whatever, and they kind of address it there. But, you know, there is a bit in this where he goes like, this world stinks and it's terrible and it's awful. And it's not fleshed out enough, but the idea definitely is he wants to escape from this. That the idea of he wants to escape from the shitty real world is there, but like what personally made it so horrible for him, his father dying, it's just really cut out of the film.
It should be mentioned as well, Charles Sands here, how he discovers that the cops don't show up when they should.
Excuse me.
This is very good.
That's very funny.
Yeah, because he's standing there, he's shooting. And
I have murdered a man and I wish to confess. Yeah, that is.
And then nobody shows up.
No. It's like if someone's like, "Hey, shut the fuck up." The way he does that is brilliant. Yeah, he is just. He's very, very funny.
Yeah.
He's just one of those great actors.
He's very well directed, and he's fantastic at taking direction, like which all good actors are. Like, if you can help me prove a theory. So we get to the climax is they're having the premiere of Jack Slater 4, and they're going to try and kill Schwarzenegger at this, the bad guys, for some godforsaken reason. And that, look, they need some goal. Is this where death has come?
That's right afterwards. So they show, and I do like a lot of the cameos. You know, that's kind of very of its time. So they get there, and I remember actually me and my friend, this was like a movie we talked about. I remember from the trailer, the bit where they had the bit where he stands up with the gun and he goes, "Everybody down." And we thought that was great. Like we were really excited for that moment. So they're there, and there's some nice, I wonder if she was genuinely pissed off at him. Maria Shriver, Schwarzenegger's wife, she is brilliant. Like, she's like, "Would you please not plug the restaurant? It's embarrassing." And she plays it like completely seriously.
Because you can imagine, like, do you ever see like the videos of Alec Baldwin and his wife?
No.
The fake Spanish one. She was born in Boston, but she speaks with a Spanish accent and all this. Like,
I heard about that,
But like, she's constantly cutting the legs out. Really? That's the point. As soon as I saw that, I went, "Oh, that's exactly what it's like." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
She's constantly cutting the legs out from underneath them.
It seemed very authentic, the way, and he plays it like he doesn't like make himself look horrible, but he does make himself look very like he's like, "In this film, we only kill 95 people. In the last we kill, but I want everyone to know we make up for it. We've got a great story." That's like what he was like. He was great at he actually, I remember a quote from him where he said, a lot of actors, they like making the movies, but then they hate the publicity. He says, "I love that. That's like nearly his favorite thing about going out and publicizing it." So he kind of played himself up very well there, I thought. You know, I'm not going to give him like, "Oh, he had himself banging the maid and he was really parodying himself." No, but it was pretty good. Like, it was kind of funny. Now, so there's a bit at the premiere. I never copped this because they had to have the two Schwarzeneggers meet each other. But isn't it a bit egotistical to say that Schwarzenegger, the actor, would have tackled the guy with a gun at his movie premiere? They had to get the two of them together.
Yeah, it's
so
like...
I accept that.
100%. like I always get the vibe. Did you ever see like action films where the president of the United States is all of a sudden knows how to use a gun? Like Air Force One, for example. It's that kind of the man in the office. Like the Schwarzenegger, the man would do this type of thing. It's that kind of ego massage and bullshit.
They had to get the two of them 100%, together.
100%. Yeah, he's not going to do that. He's going to cower in the corner like the rest of us.
Exactly. Yeah, but I do like how he just plays it again like a very vacuous like. You know, we could get you doing shopping mall openings again. And it was like, and McTiernan, he didn't say why, but he said, I kind of insisted that he say this. He goes, look, I don't really like you. You've caused me nothing but pain. And that was important to McTiernan for whatever reason. Now, the showdown on the roof is just great filmmaking.
Brilliant.
I think this is really good.
There's some great dialogue here as well. Like, because again, this is where the film, again, kind of doesn't really... in a wider context, doesn't really know what it's doing, but some of the stuff that Charles Dance's character is saying, like, the bad guy can win here, Jack. He's really holding a mirror then up to society all of a sudden.
He is just great, though.
Yeah.
He is, brilliant. The way he plays it. Now, I liked a bit, so he's first with the Ripper, and I find this interesting. So the Ripper, that's what I like, they do make a play of this is the real world. So in the original, Jack threw the gun on the ground because he used it later in the movie. In this one, he throws it over the edge because he's like, look, we're here and we're not fucking around anymore. I like that kind of an edge. And the Ripper just throws Danny over the side. Now, I liked how Schwarzenegger kills him with the electricity. That was kind of clever. Now, in the deleted scenes, there's like jokes in the next scene where he's trying to get Danny off the side of the roof. Like he's like, Danny starts laughing. He goes, what are you laughing at? And there's a sign for Acme on the side. And then he's like, oh, you wouldn't get it. And I think they make a few jokes about like, oh, you should do this. You should take my hand. In the movie, it's played like completely seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's that moment where Arnie, he looks up and he goes, oh God, please don't let him die. Like he's playing it like, I can't have this happen again. It's played and Danny plays it terrified. And again, maybe that's the wrong choice for what the movie should be, but I just buy it. I'm like, I'm just kind of into this.
Again, for all the issues I've had with it, I don't think that's a massive issue. The reason being is because this is the real world. That's the way they'd be in the real world.
And he might fall.
Yes,
like
and
now,
he might die.
I don't think you're watching it thinking he will, but at the characters are playing it like this can happen.
Like, because they're in the real world.
There's no safety net.
I mean, if this was in the film, if Danny was playing it that way inside movie land, then I'd have an issue with it. Because he knows that it's not real. Yeah. Whereas this is the real world. So I don't have an issue with him playing
the bad guys come in. Yeah,
shit scared, like, do you know what I mean?
And now, again, theoretically, this ruins it. It doesn't ruin it for me, but they're in the real world. And then Slater saves him by like literally throwing him 15 feet up. I'm like, all right, that's a pretty strong guy right there. But yeah, look, it's all good. Now, I do like how they play. So Slater gets shot then by Charles Dance, and they play that wound like quite realistically, like he's fucking blood coming out of his mouth. And that is clever. Like his, since you're about to die anyway, I might as well tell you the entire plot. And I'm like, I couldn't tell an actor how to say that, but he says it so perfectly. Like he's like, hey guys, I'm actually in the real world going to parody what a villain would do at this moment. And it seems very believable. And just the rhythm of the way he says it, and he's just brilliant. And I like how he goes, did you make a movie mistake? You forgot to reload the damn gun. No, Jack. And he shoots him. And the way they play that is like he reacts realistically to that. Then doesn't Danny kind of distract him? Yeah. And he's like, this is where he says, like, in this world, the bad guys can win.
Yeah. It's a great line. Because it turns almost into social commentary there because it is
and
true.
McTiernan does say that on the commentary track. That's nearly like we're making a statement.
He's holding a mirror up to the audience and going,
in this world.
Come on, lads.
And I think this is it's not the best, but I think it is one of the best Arnie kill lines where Danny knocks the gun and he points at the exploding eye and he goes, no sequel for you. I think that's a great line.
It is.
And it is like, perfect. Chef's kiss on it.
I'm reminded, that line always reminds me of, do you remember at the end of Rush Hour? I know at the end of comedies, like in the 90s and early 2000s, they used to have bloopers at the end. The funniest line in all of Rush Hour 2 happens in the credits, where he goes, this woman, they throw your woman out the window, and Chris Tucker gets all meta and goes, she is not going to be in Rush Hour 3. And it becomes the funniest line that's not in the film, but it's
interesting,
but it's very no sequel for you. This came before, obviously, but
that's I just
it's
love
very
that.
Good line.
Just as one line. Now this is a bit where it doesn't bother me, but the bringing Death into it, because then Benedict drops a ticket, and then Death, who's played by fucking Ian McKellen.
Yeah, Ian McKellen, who would have been completely everybody knows him as Gandalf now.
Yeah, he was,
but nobody knew him.
Not
he
was a
stage actor in England. I don't know what his celebrity was like in England.
I don't think it was, I think people might have half known. In the UK, people might have half known who he was, but I don't think it is kind of it. Kind of has it brings like the magical realism thing that they're going for.
Now, but because obviously he touches the police officer as he's leaving, and he does.
Yeah, but he's from a movie, so it doesn't. And he should
again. And so he comes to that. He goes, "Oh no, you're," because he doesn't know Jack Slater doesn't exist. So he goes, "No, I don't know who you are.
He's not on my list,
but you are." But hang on, so he's actually dead.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that is
again.
That is a bit weird. Yeah. That is an odd, and that it just speaks to me of like guys who have make a decision and then just fucking go with it. And then they're like, oh fuck, what were we thinking? There's no way to cut it out of the film because it's kind of, he's the one who tells them like where you should find the other half of the ticket. I did always find it weird in retrospect that your man ripped this very precious ticket in half. I found that really weird.
And then it didn't ruin the magic or something like that.
Is that what who the fuck? And by the way,
he didn't even mention Houdini.
In real life, Houdini was like an anti-supernaturalist, so it's kind of a stretch to just want to say. I don't really have any like the way they play it. I like in the scene in the ambulance where like you just can tell like this is the real world. He's fucked. And Danny's like, no, we need to get him back to the cinema, and he pulls the gun, and they all like, it's somewhat amusing, I suppose. Look, they get back. The cinema starts running magically, and they get him back to the real world. I do like that touch of in his world it's just a flesh wound and he'll be fine. Yeah, I like that.
No, that works for me.
Yeah,
that's one of them things where it makes completely sense. No notes for me.
Then we have like again they set some stuff up in the film that I don't know ever really pays off. You could say like he points the gun at Death and that's him standing up for himself, but that's not really a counterpoint to the scene in the apartment earlier or whatever. But look, it's fine. This is where they have the emotional kind of sign off. I think Arnie is slightly weak in this scene, I have to say.
Is this the scene where he's back in?
He's back, yeah. And
Arnie, he's having it up, like he realises he's...
This is a bit where he's like, I can't go back, and Jack's like, no, you got to go back. And I think Arnie doesn't quite know how to play it because he's like, I'm injured, but I'm not really injured anymore. He isn't strictly an actor. I think he gives a performance in this that I would say is, for me, is quite good.
Please don't, that sounded very facetious and snide what I just said there, but I don't... Like,
he's a present. He is a movie star.
Yes. But he's not an actor the way...
No, well, I think
how would you describe it?
I think the fact that the scene isn't straightforward, it is like, I'm injured, but I'm not injured. How do I play that? And I think he just wasn't able to play a mix of an idea, or he was producing it and doing all this other shit. Maybe he just didn't. Well, how should I play this? Should I just play it like I'm fine? Or, he doesn't quite know it, and he could have been maybe helped by the direction a bit more. He's a slight, like the way he plays it, like you can tell he's kind of pretending to be tired, or it just could have been. It's not awful, like, but when you watch it as many times as I do, you kind of go, I wish he.
And I always find this a strange choice of, maybe I'm just over fucking being. But when Danny's talking to him, and then you can see the cinema behind him, and it's all light and lit a certain way. I don't like. Does it really need to be that way? Am I just being too critical? Like,
maybe not. No, I wonder if they filmed it right at the end, and they were just like, just hurry up, just fucking get it done.
Because I mean, that's actually not a bad point, because there's something unfinished about it. There's something very unpolished about that shot of Danny specifically. Because there's light on his face as well, and there shouldn't be light on his face if it's behind him.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
To be honest, like it. I don't think it's bad. I think this bit's kind of stock. Like this is the emotional.
I do like when he actually gets back when the film is essentially ostensibly over.
Yeah.
And Arnie's really, because now Arnie knows that he's a character.
Yeah, and so he just punches the window to see if it doesn't hurt anymore. And
but he's really hammering it up then, like, and he's talking to the chief.
Yeah, he's like, I am the hero. Why don't you now? Okay, I did, even at the time when I first saw this, I did wonder. So wait a minute, is this the film now? Like, if you watch Jack Slater 4, like, is that what the film is about? Yeah. Or in what reality does this continue on? Now, you're not really supposed to ask those questions. It's not a film about. But even at the time as a young fella, I was like, so wait a minute, what exactly exactly is going on here? Because he even looks at the camera, like winks at it, all this. But it is just supposed to be, hey, his problem solved, Danny's problem solved. Yeah. Aren't we all better people for the end of it? And you're like, yeah, sure.
Maybe it's the friends we made along the way.
Yeah. Maybe that was the real money at the box office that this film didn't make. Look, I stand by. I see what people. I understand what people mean. I don't. I have to be. I don't see it when I hear what people say, but I understand what they say when they say they don't like it, or why isn't it like this, or this is stupid, or that. I just see the film as like a Wizard of Oz kind of thing with exaggerated Arnold Schwarzenegger stuff in it that works very, very well for me. It's a regret of my life, actually. I had just moved to Hong Kong. My brother messaged me to tell me they were showing this on 35mm in, was it the Screen Cinema, the one that's not there anymore?
Delare Street.
Yeah, was that it?
Yeah, I think so.
The one that was on the
corner.
The corner, yeah. Yeah, sorry.
And they had the ticket guy outside, the statue. It's in the It's in the Savoy and O'Connor Street.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, I would have loved to have seen this, but whatever. Maybe someday. Maybe I'll be in LA someday and they'll show it. I don't know. I think this is really, really good. But I understand, as I say, when people say it about it, I go, oh, okay. But I just don't feel about it the same way. I just think this just works for me.
I appreciate that you think it's good.
Yeah. Now it's being no, fair enough. Well, it was more than some people did. Like on that other one, like they were just like, this is the worst fucking film I've ever seen. What's your problem? No,
it's not that. It's not. Like, I mean, and I do hold a lot of nostalgia for this film. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, I'm literally, as you were talking there, I was like, Jesus, you have to come up with a non-submersible unit now. And
even for me, I'd be like, what makes it stick around?
I think, for me personally, I think it's Charles Dance. That's what I remember. I think he's brilliant in it. Yeah. But it's a special commendation for Tom Noon as the Ripper as well.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Very memorable, and he freaks. Still now watching it, I was like, Jesus, I got the same kind of chilling.
Yeah, I did like the guy.
I'll always remember that.
Is his name Rick Ducommun, the guy who plays his agent, the real actor, and he thinks he's the real guy, and he plays it like that scuzzy guy. He's like, I need to use your manager's office. I'm sorry. Here's $50. How sorry are you now? And he's just this mow them out guy, never shuts the fuck up. That was very good. No, we gave him kind of short shrift. Tom Noonan is great in this, yeah. I would just say, I suppose, the film setting, like the over-the-topness of it, which again is what a lot of people don't like, but I think it's what makes it kind of memorable. That you remember that whether you like it or you don't like it, you think it could have been better, or you thought they did it really well like I did. That's, I think, what makes it live. Now, star rating.
2.
Ouch.
2.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, 2. It's decent for its 2.
Yeah, when I was looking it up in preparation for this on IMDb, I saw that I'd given it a rating, and the rating I gave it, because IMDb is out of 10, I gave it a 9 out of 10. So I'll have to say a 4.5.
4.5, okay.
Even now I go, okay, there's problems with it, and it's not this or that. I do just kind of love it. Like, it's just, if I hadn't seen it now when I was a kid, if I'd have seen it now, I think I'd be.
Or if there was a gap.
Yeah, I think I'd be.
Yeah.
Maybe wouldn't have liked it at all. It's hard to say now because it's such a product of its era, like that excess, kind of a thing. But yeah, what can I say? I love it. I love it through and through.
Bombshell.
Yeah.
We've established this week that Seamus is wrong.
It was established long ago, believe you me.
West Brit, wrong.
Hey, I may be a West Brit, but I'm not wrong about last action here.
Okay, so thanks very much for tuning in.
Yep.
Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And pretty much that's it.
Next one, yeah. Thank you guys.
Peace out.